Do you want the large community or do you want the best dancers?
We don't need to be incredible. We need to be competent.
The largest communities don't have the best dancers. They have happy people that are always there showing up.
In the communities growing in quality, you have a mix of community builder and teacher. Sometimes they are the same person.
You don't have to be a highly skilled teacher, win 200 Jack and Jills to build a strong, successful community.
An organizer has elements of community builder because they're offering opportunities for people to come and dance.
I want to be a dancer, so I left everything behind to be a student.
They don't feel like a number anymore, or they feel these cozy feelings of belonging to a tribe.
A lot of the times you think that people are making money, they're not. When you have something available at all times, you don't value it enough. Is there any difference between a dance teacher and a community builder? If so, what are they? And can someone be both at the same time? Well, let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to ZoukNerds. In this episode, we are diving into a topic you've been asking for: the difference between a community leader and a dance teacher. Is there a right or wrong approach? Join us as we explore the unique strengths of community builders versus teachers, and how their combined efforts leads to real growth. You might even be surprised to learn what truly drives success beyond just dance skills. So, let's go. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode. My name is Alisson Sandi, and we are here today once again with our beautiful co-host, Prada. Hello, Gui.
Hi, Alisson. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that we're very, very excited about. And we've received multiple requests from you guys to talk about this. And it's something that really touches our hearts, which is the difference between community leader and teacher. Like, is there any difference? Is there any good and bad, right or wrong? And what is best for you? That's, I think, the main goal from this episode, because just spoiler alert, we don't think there's any bad or wrong. We've seen communities all over the world flourish and grow and be very successful with one or the other, or a good mix of both of them. But today we're going to be talking about what we see as a community builder and what we see as a dance teacher and how they come together. So Guy, what do you think about the differences in communities that you've been visiting as you've been traveling the world? Mm-hmm. Is there anything that screams for you as something like essential in a community?
Good question. And before I start answering, just a reminder, guys, you can always message us with requests for topics for episodes. Yeah, we just received some requests yesterday, a couple of days ago, and then that helps us so much in the episodes because it can be a little challenging to think of a new theme every week. So the requests really help. Yeah.
Yes.
And even if we did an episode already about a certain topic, sometimes the request has a little tweak to that same topic that we can then talk about it further, or something that we missed. So in response to your first question, my friend, I think it's a mix of both. I think in the communities that I see that grow in numbers in quality, you have a mix of community builder and teacher. Sometimes they are the same person. Sometimes the same person can bring the community together by organizing the classes, organizing the socials, organizing the weekenders, the cookouts, the barbecues, all of the activities. And this individual also teaches. Individual or couple or group of people, they also teach. And sometimes you have a person who is really good at organizing the things that are necessary for a community to exist. The classes, all these things that I mentioned. But they are not the teachers. They don't teach. So they bring someone else to teach. Here in our case in Washington, D.C., When I arrived in 2017, they were starting their first progressive classes. They were doing their level ones for the first time after doing dropping lessons on Mondays for years. So the community building aspect that existed was socials and these drop-in classes and teaching classes in other opportunities before socials combined with other styles. They were offering their level ones. And then when I arrived as someone who had free time, availability, and a desire to teach. So we were able to offer consistent classes beyond level one. And that started the process of growing the community. And then in 2019, Alisson arrived and offered more opportunities. So we were teachers joining forces with a strong community builder. Over time, I took some aspects of community builder, like helping organize the class, write the descriptions, organize the schedule, and talk to the team and working with the team. And the team, we mean the team of teachers and assistants. However, I'm mostly a teacher that takes some aspects of community building, but there is one person that is more focused on that part, which I think honestly is the hardest part, that you organize the classes and you keep those things going on a consistent basis. That is hard, man. That is really, really hard. So I help you with what I can, which is teach. And the aspect of community building that I take, it's the peopling part of it, to be around the students, to dance in the socials, to talk, to exchange with them, to exchange with everybody and get that sense of home, that sense of family. And that works. That really works, because the person, when people in the position of leadership look at them, sit to have a conversation, they don't feel like a number anymore, or they don't think they're just there to give something. They feel more these cozy feelings of belonging that comes with the idea of belonging to a new tribe, a new clan, you know? So this is my take on it. That's how I see it. What about you, Hans?
I think this is very important to mention that for us both that worked in District Zouk, as an example to other communities around the world, they already had a very solid foundation for us to work with, right? So for those of you who know about the Washington, D.C. community and District Zouk, especially in North America, that is very famous and everybody thinks, wow, it's a great community. I wish I could be there and spend some time there learning. Yes, we were a good addition, but they already had done a lot of work for so long to actually build that strong base foundation. And we came in and we helped. And we can talk a little bit more about that later in the episode. But what I want to say here is that for a community to grow, I think it's very important to really have somebody who is good at community.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very important to understand that you don't necessarily have to be a highly skilled, proficient, acrobatic teacher, win 200 Jack and Jills and perform all over the world to build a strong and successful community. Absolutely not. I don't think so. You don't have to have the teacher's certification by all the masters around the world or anything like that. I have seen so many amazing communities that are extremely successful around the world that I've had the pleasure and the honor to work with. And when I'm there, I feel that the priority that they give to themselves in terms of training and daily task is to communicate, is to make everybody feel like they're part of a strong family, a tribe that they always want to belong in. Not training all the moves or training all the techniques or doing as many courses and trips as possible to gather information. I think that is a benefit to the community, of course, but there's two main sides of this. And when I worked in Melbourne, I worked with a guy there who runs the largest school in Australia called Jay. He runs the Salsa Foundation where I was teaching Zouk. And he told me, he's like, Alisson, I need to know, do you want to have a large community of students, or do you want to have the best dancers in the community? And I really didn't understand how to reply to that question. So then we had multiple long conversations, and he taught me a lot about this because his classes will have 150 to 200 students. They have stage, they have cameras, they have microphones. It feels like a festival every single night, 3 hours per night. But for him, he said, look, all I want is to make people dance, to make people happy, and for people to know that Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, we're here. And if they show up, they're going to have a great time. That's it. And in a funny way, the rest of the community depends on that school. Why? Because that school is where everybody starts dancing. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say everybody, but majority of the people in the community starts dancing. And they only have level 1, level 2, level 3. That's it. After that, they simply say, look, guys, this is not what we offer. So now if you want to continue your dance journey, you need to find another school. That's it. And all of the other schools benefit from that because all of the other schools, they are focused on training the best dancers. So you have this huge machine that has mastered the practices of attracting people and building a community. And then you have these other machines that mastered the craft of building amazing dancers. Both are successful in different ways, right? So I think that's a big thing that we need to understand here. Do you want the large community or do you want the best dancers? Because in comparison, when I see the largest communities, they don't necessarily have the best dancers by performing Jack and Jill or social media standards, but they have a large amount of happy people that are always there showing up and enjoying themselves. And then you have the smaller schools, 10, 15 students per class that are amazing students, great dancers, winners of awards and performers of festivals and all of that. But that's a different game, a different place. So for me, I feel like I'm naturally a person who feels really good about teaching, about helping people. So in my journey, knowing that, I've always chosen to partner myself with somebody who is really good at community building. Because I always want to get better at community building, learn more about community building, but I know that my strengths come with structure and study and long-term things and like Brazuki, ZoukNerds, International Zouk Day, things that are more long-term and requires me to organize a lot of things in a very particular way. But I'm not great at daily repetitive tasks, which is something that is mandatory for community building. You need to be there. It's kind of like you open your own restaurant, you live that life 24/7, right? But if you work for a restaurant and you are like this award-winning chef for a restaurant, yes, you're going to work very hard, but you don't have to run the business. You can spend your time creating, imagining things and testing things out and then bringing the product. I see myself as more of that, So I think I'll stop here because I have so much to say, but there's things in between and I don't want to be the only one speaking in this episode. So Guy, please take the lead.
Yeah, no, it's good, man, it's good. Because when you're talking, I was thinking about the aspect of the ecosystem that we try to create. We try to create an ecosystem in our tribe of dancers where you have a place where people come into and other places that can take the people after they started their journey and they want to develop in all these different ways. I know that most communities, it's a one-stop shop kind of thing. there is this one place where people start and go and keep going, which is, I think, the reality of the vast majority, maybe, of the Brazilian Zouk communities around the world. And because of the aspect of being a one-stop shop, that's what I think when things starts to have issues from time to time, because some people will be much stronger in bringing new people in. Some people will be much stronger in developing people further to a certain point. So if the community is being spearheaded by the latter, by those who are good in training people up to a certain point, it will be hard for them to be the ones that bring people in. I don't know if they will have the patience. I don't know if they'll have the skill, actually, to teach somebody that doesn't know anything about dancing or doesn't move to dance to the rhythm and all of that. And then we will have the other case where people who are good at this part, taking people up to a certain point, and those people saying, what next? What next? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And then they start traveling around and they start going. So a fascinating thing that I see is that people that, in my understanding, tend to travel the most to events, especially the weekenders, are people from smaller communities. And sometimes the people from the local community, they don't come to the weekenders and the events. So we end up doing weekenders and events for people to come from outside to learn, whereas the people who are in the place, they don't come, which is very interesting. And this happens here in Washington, D.C. from time to time, né?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, tell Alisson. There's something I want to say about it. I felt it.
No, bro, it's that Brazilian saying, santo de casa não faz milagre.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like our moms, our dads will always say this about a lot of things, especially about themselves. You know, like when you have something available to you at all times, you don't value it enough.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the Brazilian saying, sorry, I'll translate, is like, home-based saint doesn't do miracles.
Mm-hmm.
That's a horrible translation, but basically saying like, you can be amazing at whatever you do, but as soon as you become local, then it's possible that your value will diminish because you're just there. Yeah. So yeah, multiple times when Guy or myself would organize weekenders at District Zouk or in DC, we would have a very, very large number of people that are not from DC. We do have our DC people, the diehard ones, the ones that no matter what we do, they're always there.
They're there.
But it is very interesting. And the other thing as well is that, like I said, a lot of communities, they're a mix of both. But what I feel that normally holds communities from growing is the fact that people are so worried about building the best dancers, not building the most welcoming community.
Yes. And this is something that I maybe talked in one of the episodes. When I arrived in DC, I had this Jaimarosha mentality of the Jaimarosha Dance Studio of training to be what we call beasts or monsters, like really good dancers. And it got to a point, and that was very quick, like a year later, got to a point that I realized, no, we actually need competent dancers. We don't need to be incredible. We need to be competent. We need to be able to step to the timing, be comfortable, be at ease with the basic movements, and have fun with the basic movements. That was something that shifted gears a lot in how the curriculum was planned and how the progression was planned. And it really soothed the mind, soothed the soul, because before I would see and want more. And then I would see and feel like, okay, we got to a good place. From here on, let the student decide how much more they want to grow. And then we will offer them a way to do that. So on our Wednesdays here, we have study group, training teams, which are the diehard ones. Yeah, we even reduce the numbers. For example, the training team now is only 6 couples. So it's just really those who really want to study, who really want to go a little bit deeper. But we have 2 full days to introduce the dance, Monday and Tuesday. And sometimes one thing that I wanted to mention is when you have this configuration of one-stop shop where the same organization takes care of everything, which again might be the reality of the majority of the Zouk scene. There was only one time that I saw something different. For example, was in Brisbane, in Australia, that I went to a social. I never see no one ever from that social anywhere else in the world. It was a lot of them. They were having fun with each other. They don't know who I was. So I sat there and I watched people dance for some time. They would come, invite me to dance. I'll dance 2 songs. They'll say, thank you, ta-na-na. But I saw people I could see that they were more early days in their journey, having fun with each other. And I was mesmerized by it. I was really, really impressed. It was only after the organizers said that I was a teacher that people started inviting me to dance more. Some people lined up a little bit, but they didn't know who I was. So it was almost like the scene that part of the community was enough on their own by themselves. And probably is one of those situations in which after a certain point, they would need to go somewhere else. And I think Brisbane is big enough to accommodate. So the ecosystem in Brisbane is different. It might be closer to the one, Alisson, that you were mentioning in the salsa world in Melbourne. So a big enough ecosystem, a big enough amount of people that you have a community of Brazilian Zouk, that you don't have one-stop shops. You have like different places where people can go, and then, I progressed all the way that I could here. Now I'm going to the other place now so I can progress even further if I want to. And that is something in Rio, for example, with my aunt, that my aunt learned up to a certain point in her dancing. She dances forró, soltinho, the other Brazilian dances. And she's really happy what she knows. Like, I don't need to know more. I just want to go out dancing on a Friday night. So she stayed in her school, in the studio that she learned, to be around her friends and just enjoy on a Friday night, do a class here and there, just to get that rush of learning something new. But she has this sense of enoughness that, I find really cool when you have an ecosystem that allows you to navigate between different places where you will have sort of different tastes and different flavors for each place. I think here in DC, we are sort of a one-stop shop, but we are a big shop. so we can offer more things. The thing is, sometimes in the one-stop shops or in the scenes that you have more of one, let's say one personality, let's call the organizer one personality and the teacher another personality. Né? When I have just one, I have seen communities that they stabilize in a certain number of people. They don't grow past that point, because I think that for them to grow past a certain point, they need both. They need both. So if the organizer, the community builder, cannot be the teacher or doesn't know how to hold the role of the teacher for a long time, because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of mental work for you to go there every Monday and you have 3 people in class, 5 people in class, 12 people in class. Every Monday for years, it requires a certain mental strength to be there. If you are alone doing this thing, I see there will be a point in which you reach like a limit of how further you can go. So that initial excitement will wear off. The initial excitement that maybe everybody I know who wants to start teaching or who wants to start a community, in Brazilian Zouk, they have that fire in the beginning. And how long that fire can burn, I think will depend on whether or not you can bring people in to help you in that endeavor and share the load a little bit or a lot, which was what happened here with us. There was a shared load, like, okay, teach the curriculum. Here, I'll handle organizing things and putting things together and all this stuff, you know? So I think it's pretty much that, just trying to find that balance. And I know many places in the world don't have this luxury of having someone who they can share the load with, and they don't have the luxury to have someone as engaged as they are, which is the other thing I wanted to mention, Alisson. I think it's the thing we saw so much, the engagement of those who we bring in to help in the endeavor. They are very engaged in the beginning, but over time, they lose their engagement. So they start coming less, they start participating less, and become someone who is part of a team, who is part of a joint effort, but not with the same level of engagement that they once had, especially after they see the gears that are necessary to exist, or they are turning in this machine that keeps a community going, right? So this aspect of engagement is the thing that tends to get to me the most. Yeah, like people want to grow a community, they want to grow numbers, but how engaged are they with this effort? Like how truly engaged they are, and what are they doing to make it happen? You know, so much to talk about again, and I can keep going as well forever. But I wanted to finish this just to say, like, as an example of engagement, I would say Magda, for example, there in Taipei, who is studio owner, teacher, and community builder. So she's like the avatar.
Oh, yeah.
She mastered all the elements at the same time.
Absolutely. One thing that I want to recognize as well is that a lot of people have started a community not because they wanted to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mostly because they wanted to dance.
Yes.
How many people that I know very personally, and people that are now listening, you guys, how many of you started a community because you didn't have people to dance with, or there wasn't a local community? But it wasn't because it was your dream to start a community or to become a teacher, an organizer, a DJ, a promoter, a web designer, graphics designer, all of those things that you might be doing. So it's very, very okay for you to understand that this is not what you signed up for. So maybe this is something that could destroy your passion for dancing.
Yeah.
Like we've had, in the time that I was in Melbourne, in Perth, in DC, and now in Taipei, we'd receive a lot of people who moved from a different city because they said, I was organizing classes, I was a teacher there, but I just want to be a student. I want to be a dancer. So I left everything behind, and I'm just going to be here now to be a student because that's what I wanted from the very beginning. So many times people move to a larger community because of that. So I just want to recognize the effort from all of those community builders and teachers that are in local communities that didn't really start because they wanted to. And maybe they already stopped, or maybe they feel like stopping. And I think that if that's you, please understand that that's okay. It's hard to let your community go, or to, close your house, your family house. But if this is affecting your love for dancing, your presence in the community, and your desire to even leave the house sometimes, it's something that is very dangerous. But I have seen many other people who would swear, I will never be a teacher, I will never organize something, I will never be an assistant. And then, you plant a seed here, I plant a seed there, and this and that. And I'm talking with multiple people that I've already worked with. And then they suddenly become this passionate person who still don't want to take too much responsibility, but they want a little bit more responsibility and a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And I think that's a much more healthy way, I guess, of getting involved in this. When you have the option of just sitting back and being a student, but you choose to step up and you choose to offer more of your time and your effort to things that are not just about your dancing, but about growing the community and, upgrading the community in some way. Because we have so many smart people in our community that any help is always welcome.
Yeah, there is also the case of those who start because they are asked to. Someone start asking them to start something.
Yeah.
And I wanted to also take some time to really quickly go over what I think community building entails. Because, like we said, most Brazilians do communities is someone who rents a space and offers things on that space. It's basically that. So like, we don't have big structures. We have homemade, rustic structures where is someone who goes, finds a place, offers the class, goes to the place, teaches, pay the place, rent another one for the socials. So community building initially is creating opportunities for people to dance. There is this first aspect that you show the dance exists. You can learn this dance and you can practice this dance, and I'm offering these opportunities. So then there is the second aspect of community building, which is peopling, relating to those who are coming and creating that sense of belonging. So the community builder, at least initially, tends to be the more experienced dancer. Very generally speaking, especially if we're talking about smaller places, smaller cities, smaller towns, that for sure nobody knows Zouk there more than you do. So the person is the main reference point. So creating that sense of belonging. I think these are the two initial aspects of community building. You offer and then you relate. And the part that is tricky is that it's ongoing. It keeps going, and you have to keep doing that until the end of time. And then what Alisson was saying, if you started because you wanted to dance, you offered the thing, you related to people, but then you realize, oh my God, it's nonstop, right? That starts to drain. That starts to take away that excitement, and you can lose your passion for the dance, like Alisson was saying. So one thing about community building that we talked about this so many times, but I think it's good to talk again because we underestimate it severely, I think, is the ongoingness aspect of it. It just keeps going forever, for 20 years, 25 years. Jaime had his studio in Rio for 25, 30 years, and it just kept going. Beginner class, every time. So it's something to keep in mind. Yeah. And it's okay to get tired at some point. You were going to say something, when I mentioned the ongoingness, never ending aspect of it.
Yeah, because it's kind of like what we said a couple of episodes ago. Teachers like parenting. Yes?
Yes.
Maybe mostly behind the scenes, organizing and making things run. Like how many times I've seen community builder organizers not participating in the classes, not participating in the socials because they're making sure that this is done, that's done, the food, the water, the picking this up, dropping this off.
Checking in people, yeah.
Exactly. So as teachers, we are parents, but at least we get to hang out with the children. And we get to socialize and have fun with the children. But the organizer and the community builder may or may not get that time. So if that's your profile, some people love that. I have worked with a few organizers that they specifically told me, I love working with you, Alisson, because I like to do the things that people don't see. And I don't like when people like are looking at me. I don't like to be in any moment in front of people. So I love working with you because you love that part. I love this part. Perfect. So that would be a match made in heaven. If you have like a community partner, I don't want to call it a business partner, but a community building partner, someone who is more like love to do the behind the scenes, but then doesn't want any public attention or recognition. And the other person that doesn't mind that public attention or recognition and actually loves to, talk and be with people. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you you reacted when I talked about that, the ongoingness, né? And the last thing I wanted to mention here for us is the aspect of quality, the quality of the community. Yeah. And when this word comes out, when people mention to us in the messages, when I hear the word quality, I relate with the experience of social dancing in that community or the experience of learning in that community. If the dancing is comfortable on the body, if you have an experience of learning where you feel confident that you are learning the structure of the dance, that you are learning how to go about this part of the dance, how to go about that part of the dance. And that is something that I also observed around the world in places where you have community organizers. And that's so funny, man. I think I just realized something. Maybe there are 3 different roles. I just happened in my head. Maybe we have the teacher, the organizer, and the community builder.
I would say there's even more than that.
There might be even more than that.
So many, because even below those 3 people, there is like different branches of organizers and community builders. And teachers.
Yes. You have the subcategories within each one of these 3.
Yeah.
Because I just realized that some places actually, they have more organizers than teachers and community builders. And an organizer has elements of community builder because they're offering opportunities for people to come and dance. However, I think when the person is just the organizer, they don't do the follow-up things that the community builder does. The relating portion or the ongoingness portion. I think the primarily organizer, they do like events from time to time. And they have aspects of community building because, again, they are offering opportunities.
I think it's important to clarify here that in the context of the Brazilian Zouk community, what we often call an organizer, it's like the event director.
The event director.
Somebody who runs events, a promoter, an event director, an organizer, because we are all organizers of some sort of something. But in the context of Brazilian Zouk community, if you're new to it or if you are new to dance, this is what we're talking about. Somebody who runs conferences and boot camps and weekenders, but they don't necessarily run a community or teach dance classes at all.
Yeah, sometimes they are part of the community. They're like enthusiasts in the community, or they are like senior members of the community, or they are people that used to be people organizing regular classes and then transitioned into organizing more events on a bi-monthly basis or once a year, that do partnerships with the local community builders who are more on the daily. So I think I would say that community builder, more essentially speaking, community builder is the individual, the group of people who are on a daily effort, on a daily endeavor of bringing new people in and training the people who are in. The organizer being, again, the person or the group of people who organize certain events, to direct certain events, and the teacher is the teacher. So the organizer hires the teacher. Sometimes the organizer is a teacher that's going to hire other teachers, yeah, or that's going to organize for themselves. So these 3 roles, they converge in many points. They find each other in many points. If it were like these 3 circles that combines, that would be like a big middle section where all three converge, and the one where they converge with each other. And certain communities, I'm realizing now that we are talking about it, they have a lot more organizers than community builders and teachers. So I know certain communities who rely on weekend events as a whole. That's what they have. They have weekend events. So sometimes someone who comes into the scene and wants to learn the dance from scratch, they simply don't have a way to do that. They might have like a level 1, a class before social, but they don't have like this consistency of regular class on a daily basis. And that's something to be mindful as well. I think if you're a member of a community that wants to grow, and grow in the sense of growing numbers and growing quality of dance, quality of social dancing, and quality of learning, in the beautiful, magical, utopic world where everything is beautiful and nice, you have all these three things. You have someone who organizes events from time to time. You have someone who organizes regular classes. Then you have someone who is engaged in the art of teaching and connecting with the students. And then I think we can, we can prosper in numbers, in quality, in fun. Otherwise, there will be some area that will be a little bit, they'll be missing something in certain points.
I think that's why I said before that I love to work with community builders, because with the experience I have, I can teach them and I can guide them into how to grow the community. But what I'm very good at is teaching and organizing. The role of the community builder, I know about it. I know what works and what doesn't, but it's not something that I want to do all the time. If necessary, I'll do it. But organizing and teaching, sometimes I'm here until 6 a.m. and I'm like, I should sleep. But I don't, because that is something that excites me and something that I'm very passionate about. And I think it's totally valid if you only identify yourself with one or two, or if you are somebody like Maggie here in Taipei, or most others around the world, who are the avatars, the superwoman. Some people can manage. Some people can absolutely manage. And I'm a big believer that you need to recognize your strengths and your weaknesses, understand what they are, and understand what you're good at and focus on it. If you can outsource, and if you can, give the tasks to somebody else, do it. If you cannot, do your best to learn how to improve on those skills. But yeah, I don't want anybody to ever feel like they have to be good at everything, to be successful, or to be part of this community, or to be recognized. Sometimes I work with people and they're like, oh, I'm such a bad organizer and this and this and this. And I'm like, why are you talking like that? And they're like, oh, I wish I was more like this person or that person. I'm like, look at the community that you have. Look at the classes that you have. Look at everything that you have. You're amazing. You don't have to become a great teacher or become a great organizer or become a community builder or maybe even something else to be an amazing contribution to the community. Whatever you do, as long as you're passionate about it, for me, that's what I believe that is going to really make you and everybody around you feel good about themselves and succeed as well.
Yeah. And there's one thing that I like to mention here in this podcast for everybody who's listening. Recognition is a very important human need. Sometimes recognition is misunderstood. Many times it's misunderstood because we have this idea growing up where, in our educational system, in the ways that we learn, we are good because we have to be. Yeah, like my grandmother used to say, you're doing nothing more than your obligation, right?
I think that's a Brazilian household saying. Household saying.
Yes, doing nothing more than your obligation. But I learned that recognition, belonging, they are human needs. They are important human needs. So a message to the local teacher, the local organizer, thank you for doing this. Like I see the effort, I see what you do. And I just wanted to say thank you. And man,
Yes.
you can make the day of that person. You can truly make the day of that person, because sometimes a lot of these things are done behind, and you really don't see, you really don't know the effort that it takes to put one class out on the floor. And just a message, just like this small recognition of the existence of someone and the effort that is being made by that person so other can dance, can go a long way, you know? So it's just something that after what Alisson said, I wanted to express.
And people, please be kind to people who are trying to build something in the community. I know most of you are, okay, but like I've been with organizers in so many situations, including recently, where the organizers that were hiring me, they were bringing me for workshops, they were pretty much in tears because of like how unnecessarily pushy or mean or demanding people were being towards them. Like maybe they didn't reply to a text for a couple of hours and people were getting mad at them. Please be kind. Most of these people are not doing this full time. Most of the organizers, community builders, and teachers out there in the Zouk community, they do this in their free time, in the very little free time they have, or in the free time that they have when they are getting paid to work, but they do community stuff during the paid job work hours, which happens quite often. So please, just like in connection with what Guy is saying, not only recognize, go to your community leader, teacher, and say, thank you so much. I know like I've been coming here for 6 months and I really haven't had this time to thank you, but dancing has really helped me and I really appreciate everything that you do. Even if I don't say it every day, please know that I appreciate. And in connection to that, when something doesn't work, please be kind. If something is wrong, please be kind. Because a lot of the times you think that people are making money, they're not. Like the organizers are not. The teachers are not. They're doing this because they love the community and they want to see people happy and smiling and dancing. You know, it's painful to see sometimes, but I try to comfort these organizers as much as I can and say, look, don't worry. Everything's beautiful. Everything's happening amazing. And you'll see tonight, everybody's going to be happy. Everybody's going to be having fun. And yes, when they see everybody having fun, you know, the tears go away and the smile comes back. But the midnight hours, the early mornings, and the stress that happens that nobody sees is something that is very real. So please be kind.
Or the tears come back of joy. Yeah,
Yes.
Because I've seen, it was there in Taiwan. It was on the communities that I visited in Taiwan, just because people in Kaohsiung, just because people stayed for the social, they got emotional. Just because people stayed to social dance. Because normally they said that after class people leave, and after class people stayed. And that was beautiful, you know. People put a lot of emotion, a lot of effort into this. And I would say to those who are wanting to do that, or those who are already doing that, an invitation to understand your strengths, to understand like what is it that you really want to do, and what is it that you are willing to do for some time, but not forever. And like, what is this thing that you are doing right now because you have to, and you could maybe in the future outsource to someone. So I know a lot of Zouk teachers who really want to teach the tricky stuff. They want to teach the nitty gritty of the technique. They want to go deep with people, and they say, oh, I'm much better in private lessons because I can talk about the stuff. And I say, of course you can. Of course you can. It's a private lesson, you know. But to grow community, to have sustainable work locally, you got to teach the beginners. You got to have a way into the dance. So you're going to need to talk about timing and rhythm and stepping for hours with those people for months until you are able to do a little bit more of a complex variation. See how willing you are to stay there for how long, you know, and then maybe think about maybe bringing someone to help you with that part. Or work in the mindset to find the nuances in that part that you right now don't find so fun or joyful, I think it's important to keep that in mind just because of the amount of times right now that I've been listening to people and what they would really like to teach and what's their ideal topic of teaching. And all of these people that I've talked to, they want to work and some of them want to build community. So it's like, just consider that a little bit more. And if you have more questions, we are here. We have a Q&A. We have our live Q&As from time to time. You can follow us on Spotify for more, subscribe on YouTube, and communicate with us in our social media that we can provide support. That's why Alisson created all of this.
Yes, and I think that's a great way to close our episode for today. Hopefully this was helpful for all of you who are somewhat part of this beautiful community. Once again, we do thank you for everything that you do, whether you're a student who comes from time to time or a teacher, organizer, any of the above and below. We're very thankful for you. That's thanks to you that we can be here organizing this and many other things that we do in our life. And thank you once again for being here with us as part of this ZoukNerds family. And we'll see you on the next episode. So, thank you. Beijos, abraços, and ciao, people.
Bye, everybody.